Hey guys, Michael here, and today we'll be analyzing the problems and shortcomings of PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Nintendo's decade-spanning iconic stable of characters inevitably led to the creation of Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. Everyone with a soul loves crossovers, a force that pushed this nostalgia-driven arena-based brawler everywhere from dorm room face-offs to the annual EVO tournaments held in Las Vegas. It satisfied the vast array of Nintendo fans from outing to outing. Sony might have taken a little while longer to build up a comparatively beefy roster, but by 2012, the time felt right to drop PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale for the PS3 and Vita, which, like Smash Bros., pits familiar faces from different franchises against each other in a large chaotic skirmish. It sounds awesome. It is awesome. It also sounds like a financial jackpot, but it wasn't. Why? What went wrong? What caused the nearly sudden abandonment? What has led to the DLC that was started and put on the internet to be canned in favor of letting PSABR effectively rot? Since I'm breaking this up into a few parts, let's look at what went wrong before the game's release. I hate being that guy, but we have to peek into the roster. Speaking plainly, it wasn't all what people wanted. With every eventual character trailer, we were all hoping for our favorite dose of our childhood delivered via a spot in the list of fighters. But for many, it didn't come. Solid Snake was nowhere to be found, with, again, Raiden presumably taking his spot. Cloud from Final Fantasy was also absent. Spyro, despite his renovated look, glided straight off the roster list. Everyone's favorite androgynous sissy boy from Kingdom Hearts didn't have the right keyblade to access the door to the roster. Ico and Shadow of the Colossus were both completely MIA. Motorstorm and Gran Turismo were also stuck in the garage. And even though Dante from Devil May Cry made the cut, people even complained it was the wrong Dante.
Who the fuck are you?
And of course, let's not forget the elephant in the room, Crash Bandicoot, which was not even close to being confirmed. While I would have loved to see any and all of these characters on the disc, I am not personally berating Sony for not including these folks. Why? Because gathering the rights of these characters is already a nightmare filled with paperwork no one wants to do and pushy conversations no one wants to have. Sony doesn't own the rights for a handful of these desired faces, meaning this labyrinthine way of communicating with multiple companies is necessary and probably difficult as all hell. So what were they met with? Well, stubbornness and probably hesitant delayed responses from the rights holders. Activision, the current holders of both Spyro and Crash, gave vague responses to fan requests and only said they'd be happy to send in any fan ideas or feedback. That's a little weird. Carl Stewart, Tomb Raider's global brand manager, flat out stated Lara Croft would not be heading to the game due to timing, and that Superbot even approached us about including Lara. And that's probably the most frustrating part. Superbot is filled with people like you and me. They know who you want because they want those characters too. They must have shopped around to the same developers we're all thinking of, only to be preemptively shot down because of the sticky hands of the IP holders. You can't make companies bend to your will, and the money probably wasn't matching up. The money probably wasn't matching up in the marketing either, another aspect that didn't seem to have much oomph behind it. There were some ads for All-Stars, but few seemed to show some respect for what the game actually was, particularly this one shown in the US. Yes, it's cool, but what does it really show? Two white men fistfighting, Sackboy tossing some pink gel, and a funky looking tall Kratos. Notice how there isn't actually any gameplay being shown. Live action trailers are already a fungus in the marketing department of games because of their failure to show people what the damn game actually looks like. As it stands, the trailer only appears to be a cool fan project. The one shown in the UK was a bit better since it showed some of the fighting and some live action, but the only real solid step was the Robot Chicken collabo. It was funny, it showed some of the game, and it was a creative method of perpetuating the game's name with snippets of gameplay to the masses. But let's fast forward here to the game's release in November. The game was met with a blend of great scores and average ones, resulting in a 74% average, with me personally giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Since it wasn't a 90 plus, it obviously was shit in a lot of people's mind and made it even more likely that people wrote it off as a Smash Bros. Clone and disregarded it entirely. Okay, now we're in post-release territory, which has some good and some bad. Good? Free DLC. Bad? Well, maybe not bad, but sort of neutral. Cat from Gravity Rush and Emmett Graves from Starhawk were among the first two characters added to the game and were free for 2 weeks. I, along with others, wanted free characters, but these C-list entries, really? Starhawk and Gravity Rush didn't light the charts ablaze, so while the notion was appreciated for those on board with the game, it probably didn't attract many new players. Also, since it was free for 2 weeks, it probably didn't make them that much money, but at least it showed some support. However, it didn't show support for Superbot, the developers, since Sony cut ties with them pretty quickly, promising Sony Santa Monica would handle all DLC going forward. It must be frustrating for Superbot, making such a headache of a game, and a damn good one at that, only to be dropped because things are out of your control. Yes, All-Stars could have been a better game, but it was a great first effort, one that could stand on its own 2 feet. Santa Monica's first push to the promised DLC started with the surprise announcement of 2 more characters, Dead Space's Isaac Clarke, and Greek mythology Zeus, which was from God of War. Again, more characters is a solid decision, but these guys again, really? Both just had subpar entries in their respective series, and were once again both characters no one was really clamoring for. I was ready to throw my $10 at them regardless because I wanted more of the game, but they were both packaged with new copies of God of War Ascension, something that probably negated sales of the new DLC. I understand wanting to make good faith with your customers, but you do need to make ends meet, especially since Sony probably knew the game was in hot water. Then things went quiet. Too quiet. Promises of more costumes were oddly swept under the rug, and people wanted answers and they wanted them now. Well, we got them. They just weren't full of the Sackboy-like positive charm. On IGN's Podcast Beyond episode 297, Sony's beloved Shuhei Yoshida stated that while it sold over 1 million units, it was, quote, not enough to have momentum in terms of a business standpoint to continue to add new characters. And then the internet sighed. Well, some of it anyway. That wasn't it though. Leaked pictures from an artist showcased Dart from The Legend of Dragoon. It wasn't just an idea too. Dart looked to be fully rendered. Not only did this relight a campaign of emails, tweets, and hashtags from fans to release Dart, but it gave another set of false hope that, again, ended in Santa Monica's studio community strategist Just Tank slamming the community with a message that politely repeated that they have no plans to release more content. Not much time passed when another canned DLC project surfaced, this time showing an incredible Journey Gravity Rush stage mashup that was far past the concept stage. Since these were more than unsubstantiated rumors of actual evidence and continued support, it made me think, did Sony drastically overestimate the capabilities of All-Stars? So, while I doubt anything of what I'm about to say will actually happen, I feel like there is a way to resurrect this carcass. Here's an idea. Release PlayStation All-Stars as a free-to-play game. Dead or Alive 5 has announced plans to stick to this model, even if details are light, and the recent Tekken Revolution on PSN is a solid experiment of this continually expanding way of business. Killer Instinct for the Xbox One is also launching with a free-to-play model in mind, intelligently giving players the option to pay for fighters they want. While I don't have the perfect solution for this, the basics are clear. Make the root game free and charge for characters and stages. Allow around 5 or so characters to be free along with a few stages, and charge the player piecemeal if he or she decides to add more to the base experience. Destroying the barrier to entry would allow the player base to grow, along with the voices wanting a sequel or some DLC. The other plan is a bit more simple and probably could happen. Put it on the Instant Game Collection for PS Plus and or release a gold edition with all the DLC. PlayStation Plus is only going to grow, which again is a key to expanding the market and player base. Re-releasing the game with all the DLC once again allows it to be in the conversation amongst gamers, giving potential players another shot to grab the old game at a discounted cost. It's all about not letting the game die out completely, even if it means repeating the same things with a minor twist, hence re-releasing the game. Of course, if it was only that easy. I was ready to hunker down and buy all the DLC that was promised, even some of the ones that weren't promised. I was maybe hopeful for characters like Juan from Guacamelee or Joel from The Last of Us, along with the previously mentioned cast-offs like Snake and Crash. As it looks now, we probably won't be getting any more content, nor does it look like a sequel is coming anytime soon. I am genuinely sad because this whole ordeal is depressing from all angles, but maybe, just maybe, there's a shot at something. Anything. Even a mention of a new character like Neutral Cole is something. And that's about all I have to say about All-Stars. I know some of this is old, but I just really want a sequel. I want to see some DLC. And it's sad to see all this potential shit canceled, the stuff that was actually worked on. Thanks guys for watching. I love you guys, and check everything else out. And goodbye.
That was lame. I think that look suits you better.